Welcome to the Truth Be Told Flex Podcast Extra. I am Shia Yeshua Judah. We're going to talk about a topic that we're going to lean heavy on this week, Wednesday night, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern Time. Ayo Ben Yahu, he will be back. Myself and Benat Lahaya. We're going to talk about this FEMA money. For all of the Truth Be Told Flex Podcast followers, you are getting a little heads up on one of the topics that we're going to be talking about. If you are new, keep it locked in. Also hit the bell. That way you will be notified when we do drop new content and we go live every Wednesday night. We're going to talk about this FEMA budget because it is a shame what is going on right now. I have been told personally by an individual that lives up that way. He gave me a call Saturday, and this individual called me and he just wanted to talk. And it's strange that he called me on this particular topic because that's not the nature of our relationship. In fact, when he called me, I was about to go in and start talking about money. I'm glad that I listened to the Ruach HaKodesh and I kept my mouth closed and I allowed this individual to express what was going on. And as he was talking to me, he began to go into tears. He continued to text me later on that night and over throughout the weekend, letting me know what was going on in that region. Now, understand, I don't necessarily have eyes there. So I can only go by two things. I can go by what the media tell me, and I can also go by the boots that are on the ground that are there from the people that I know. Who am I going to trust? Of course, I'm going to trust the common man more than I trust the media. The media is a machine. The media has a job, which is to induce fear and to redirect us from what the truth is. That's what we're going to get into right now. This particular individual told me that there are 10 to 20,000 of people that are missing. They don't know where they are right now. Now, I want to make this clear because a lot of us have been told, me, myself included, we have been told that a lot of the towns that was affected the most by this were sundown towns. And if that is true, okay, that's true, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to let the Most High execute his judgment the way that he feels fit to execute his judgment. I'm not finna get on here and I'm not finna bash the people that was left behind as if they don't need help. Okay. We're going to let the Most High judge how he feel fit to judge. Now, if you got left behind and you are in that region, you need help as far as I'm concerned. You are looking for help as far as I'm concerned. And from what I am understanding from the individual that called me and continued to text me throughout the weekend, the help that they would expect is not being there. In fact, he say that they are loading up trailers full of barley and wheat, and they taking it to the people that are up there in the mountains where they were most affected with the mudslides because of the rain, the amount of rain that fell there. He said that the government is coming in and taking the wheat and the barley away and taking them back to Atlanta for some reason. He said he have absolutely no idea what they're doing and why they are doing what they're doing. But he says this, he says that the level of aggression is rising in that area because the people are in a dire need right now, and the government is acting as if they don't exist. And they're painting a picture as if there is a bunch of redneck backwoods that are losing their minds, when the truth of the matter is that they need help. And where is the help? Now, Donald Trump, he said not long ago that the Biden-Kamala administration stole the money from FEMA and they gave them to migrants. Now, every time I open up my phone and every time I go to my tablet, every time I go to my laptop and I look at news articles, I'm finding fact checks and they are smashing Trump. Even this morning on The View, the very first thing that came out of Whoopi Goldberg's mouth was she had to set the record straight that Trump is lying about them giving money to the migrants. FEMA has not given money to the migrants. And how could he say something like that in a time like this when people are in need, when people are dying, when people are without homes, when people don't know where their meals are going to come from. Well, this is why he said it, because he wanted the people to know what this administration has done. Now, as far as I can see, there are more receipts that are showing that Trump is not lying than there are receipts that are showing that he is lying. Okay. And we're going to go through a few of those receipts right now on this show, on this Truth Be Told Flex Podcast Extra. This is one right here. These are FEMA documents that have been snipped, and I got these off of X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay. And as you see on the ticker, it says over $640 million of FEMA budget went to migrants. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use something that the majority of people don't use anymore, which is common sense. We're going to let our eyes and our ears tell us who's lying and who is not lying. Disclaimer, I'm not a Trump supporter. Disclaimer, I'm not right. Disclaimer, I'm not voting for anybody, but I'm a realist, and we're going to let the receipts speak for themselves. The very first one at the top left, this says Department of Homeland Security announces $380 million in additional funding to communities receiving migrants. To communities receiving migrants, the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA, they are offering those communities $380 million. Moving over to the right of that, FEMA awards $110 million to the Emergency Food and Shelter Program to assist migrants. So now what we are up to $490 million. The Department of Homeland Security announces distribution of more than $77 million in congressional funding and communities receiving migrants. People, $77 million. Politico says that New York City itself gets $104.6 million from FEMA for asylum seekers. That's for housing migrants, by the way, in case you did not know. The U.S. Embassy in El Salvador says Department of Homeland Security announces distribution of more than $12 million in funding. And FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, announces $300 million in direct funding to communities receiving migrants and $340 million for a new competitive award process. Now, there are people that are dying right now. People who had a home one day and didn't have a home the next, and they are turning to the government for money, and the government is telling them that they have none. Trump said that the Biden and Kamala administration gave all of the money to migrants. Well, we just went through 6 federal documents that admitted that they did. Vice President Kamala Harris drew ridicule when she touted storm victims would be eligible to receive $750 from FEMA. People, what is $750 going to do? $750. FEMA under the Biden-Harris administration, in cash strap due in part to spending over $640 million of its budget to deal with migrants' crisis. That's what we're dealing with right now. And I agree with this statement here. It says FEMA wouldn't need additional funding if Kamala and Biden hadn't drained for illegals. But it seemed like to me, and I've heard several white people say that Kamala don't care about Americans. Well, that's what it seemed like, because when you read things like what's on the screen right now, and when you hear things that you are about to hear, right? When you hear things, what you are about to hear, then it can only make you for real believe that Kamala and her administration don't care about Americans. Karine Jean-Pierre on September the 22nd in 2022, this is what she had to say. No, I believe that it was September the 16th, actually. Check her out.
To ask if the White House plans any legal responses for the state sending migrants on buses, and secondly, if there's plans to reimburse those cities or provide funding for how they're handling that.
So on your first question, it's basically we're referring. I was asked a question like this yesterday to Department of Justice on any legal actions that might be taken or being looked at. Certainly, that is for them to take a look at. As far as how we're supporting cities, so, as we've done many times in response to repeated attempts by these Republican officials to create chaos and confusion at the border, we are working to manage the consequences of including this latest political charade that we're seeing. So FEMA regional administrators have been meeting with city officials on site to coordinate available federal support from FEMA and other federal agencies. Funding is also available through FEMA's Emergency Food and Shelter Program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants. We'll continue to do what we can as a federal government to support these cities as we rebuild our asylum processing system after it was gutted by the Trump administration. Okay.
Yo, do that not sound like the exact same thing what we just read a while ago when we had this up on the screen? She said it herself. But every time you read a new article, it tells you that Trump is lying and he is being fact-checked, and that the Biden and Kamala administration have not given any money to the migrants. Snowflake News says that illegal immigrants in Brunswick, Maine are living rent-free in brand new, fully furnished luxury apartments for up to 2 years now. These apartments are located in the same county that receives $6.1 million in FEMA funding, part of the $1 billion program spent on housing illegal immigrants. Yeah. So now when you have people who actually need money because they have been displaced by a whole storm, done flooded out everything, they can't get it because you done gave all the money to the to illegal immigrants. You know what that's equivalent to? That's equivalent to, look, okay, I'm the head of my household. I got my wife and I got my children, right? And I get a phone call from an individual. Yo, I'm behind on my rent. Can you help me? Oh yeah, I got you. I get another phone call from another individual. My lights are about to get turned off if I don't have X amount of money by this particular date. I got you. Get another phone call from an individual. Man, they done repoed my car and they not going to give it back to me until I give them this amount of money. I gotcha. But then when my child have an accident at work or get sick, or my wife have some type of an issue, I turn to social media with a GoFundMe. I can help everybody else out here, but I can't help those that are under my roof. Every time Ukraine asks for money, they cut a check. Every time Israel asks for money, they cut a check. But now we got people who are in our backyards who have lost everything. And every time I couldn't watch football yesterday for a dadgum banner keep coming up at the bottom of the screen talking about donate to the hurricane victims that have been affected with Hurricane Helene. Why are you asking us to donate when you can cut billions of dollars of checks to Ukraine. When you can give over $640 million of FEMA money to migrants. Trump ain't in office. You can't blame this on Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter. But you can't blame this on Trump. Kamala is the VP. Biden is the P. These people need help and you are not helping them. The judgment is only going to get worse. That same area, well, Florida, it's Florida, not that particular area that is north of Florida, northwest of Florida, but that same a hurricane right now is about to go right back through there. And if FEMA is struggling to take care of those who are already been pounded, what are they going to do for Florida? Because the way they talk, this storm is picking up momentum and speed. It's going from a 1, and they saying that by the time it hit land, which I think they predict by Thursday, it may hit as a category 3. Seditions are right around the corner. We cannot continue to sit back and put our trust in these men, in this government. You better turn to the Most High. That's the whole point of this here, to let you know that, you cannot trust man. Man will let you down. There is only one that you could put your safety in. Judgment is going to start in the house of Israel. We're going to get ours. We are going to get ours. It's time to stop playing. Seals are broken. Trumps are being blown all over the land. Don't act as if you don't hear them. This year, Yeshua, I promise you, we're going to get into this with here this week on the show. We are. But if Trump is lying, where's the receipts? That's all we asking. Where's the money? You're telling us where the money didn't go, but you're not telling us where the money is. Catch us Wednesday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern Time on the Truth Be Told Flex podcast. I am Yeshua Judah.